Hey everyone. You know how sometimes you just want the quick version, the shortcut to understanding something big?
Yeah, get right to the good stuff.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive that's kind of like that. We're looking at Mr. Beast.
The huge YouTuber.
Yeah, the very one. We're analyzing how he uses English, specifically the techniques he uses to reach this massive global audience.
It's pretty fascinating when you think about the scale he operates on.
Right. And what's really interesting is by digging into his communication, we actually uncover some useful pointers for, well, anyone.
Even, say, someone learning a completely different language.
That's the connection, yeah. One of our sources actually brings up learning Chinese, and some parallels emerge.
Okay, interesting.
So, yeah, our mission today. Let's unpack what makes Mr. Beast's English click for so many people and see what insights we can all take away for clearer, more impactful communication.
Sounds like a plan. Where do we start?
Let's begin with something that seems obvious, but is maybe deeper than it looks.
Yeah.
His simple language. Our analysis shows he uses these short, punchy sentences. Very direct. It feels like he avoids anything too complicated. Why is that simplicity so key, you think, for that global reach?
Well, it's likely about reducing what scientists might call cognitive load. Basically, the simpler it is, the easier it is for anyone's brain to process it quickly.
Right, less effort needed.
Exactly. And if English isn't your first language, complex sentences are they're a barrier. So Mr. Beast, by keeping it direct, just lowers that barrier right down.
Makes sense. The message lands faster.
Pretty much instantly, yeah.
Yeah.
Maximum impact, minimum mental gymnastics.
And you see that in his verbs too, don't you? It's always we gave or he built, they survived. Very action-focused.
Very concrete. And it's funny you mentioned the Chinese learning source.
Yeah.
Because one of the first tips there is focus on basic, high-frequency phrases. Get the fundamentals down.
Ah, okay. So it's the same principle.
It really is. Build that foundation first. You need those simple blocks before you can get fancy. Mr. Beast seems to get that, maybe intuitively.
Okay, so clarity is number one. But what else? If you watch his videos, the energy is just wow.
Oh, yeah, it's intense.
His voice is all over the place, up and down. That intonation, as our analysis calls it, it keeps you locked in, doesn't it? It stops it being boring.
Absolutely. And, that's how humans naturally convey emotion, right? Through pitch, rhythm.
Like asking a question versus making a statement.
Exactly. Same words, totally different feel based on how you say it. Mr. Beast leans into that hard. He emphasizes the key stuff. $1 million or last person standing creates that drama.
Builds the hype.
Totally. It adds layers of meaning just through sound.
And it's interesting comparing that to a language like Chinese, where the tone, the musicality is literally part of the word's meaning.
Precisely. So, okay, Mr. Beast isn't dealing with lexical tones like in Chinese.
Yeah.
But his delivery still highlights this universal thing. Language isn't just words on a page.
It's got melody, rhythm.
Yeah, expressiveness. Which is why, for someone learning Chinese, listening and mimicking native speakers, getting those tones right is so critical. Mr. Beast just proves how important that sonic element is in any language context, really.
Okay, let's talk about the actual words he picks, the vocabulary. Our source points out it's super accessible, like you don't need a PhD to follow along. He stays away from jargon.
Which makes sense for a broad audience, including kids and non-native speakers.
But then he sprinkles in slang, let's go, or calling something insane. How does that work? Balancing accessibility with sounding current.
Well, that's actually quite clever, isn't it? That slang, used sparingly, creates a vibe. It feels relatable, authentic, especially for younger viewers.
Like he's just chatting with you?
Yeah, not giving a lecture. Because the core language is simple, the slang doesn't really block anyone out. It adds flavor without sacrificing clarity.
That connects back to the Chinese learning advice again, doesn't it? Where they say focus on spoken patterns, not just memorizing vocab lists.
Exactly. It's about how language is actually used in the real world. Mr. Beast is a masterclass in practical contextual language. You see how the words work together in a real situation.
Which is way more useful than just lists.
Way more. It's about the flow, the whole package.
Okay, something else he does. Pacing. Think about the big reveals.
Oh yeah, the pauses.
Right. He speeds up when it's exciting, then slows right down, maybe even pauses dramatically before announcing a winner. Our source mentions this strategic pacing. What's that doing for the viewer?
It's all about managing emotion, I think. Speed creates urgency, excitement, matches the action.
Gets your heart rate up a bit.
Totally. And then pause. It builds suspense.
Yeah.
That key bit of information really land, gives it weight.
Silence is a tool.
Definitely. Like in music, right? The rests, the changes in tempo, they're just as important as the notes themselves. It creates a rhythm that keeps you hooked.
And while the Chinese source doesn't maybe focus on pacing exactly like that, you can feel how timing and rhythm are crucial to sounding natural in any language.
Oh, for sure. It's maybe a more subtle part of fluency, but it's there. Knowing when to pause, varying your speed, it all helps the listener understand and stay engaged, even if it's not rule number one in the textbook.
Okay, here's a really key part, I think, especially thinking about learning. The visuals.
Huge, even though we're talking about his spoken English.
Right, but you can't separate it from what you see in his videos. The challenges, the reactions, the scale of it all. Our source highlights how that visual context just massively helps you connect words to actions.
Yeah, and that is such a powerful tip for language learners. Why do they say immerse yourself in YouTube, in TV shows?
The visual context.
Exactly. You see what's happening. It reinforces the words you're hearing. It's like a visual dictionary playing out in front of you.
So even if you don't catch every single word.
You get the gist because you can see it.
Yeah.
Super helpful if you're starting Chinese and the characters are still intimidating or the vocabulary isn't all there yet.
So, okay, let's try and pull these threads together for you, our listener.
Yeah.
If you're learning a language, or honestly, even if you just want to be a better communicator,
Which is most of us, right?
pretty much, this look at Mr. Beast seems to boil down to a few core things. Clarity is king.
Be expressive. Use that energy.
And have that confidence in your delivery. And it's just wild how these echo that advice for learning something as different as Chinese.
It really is. And that idea of actually trying to mimic some of it. The source suggests shadowing his tone, his sentence structure.
As an exercise.
Yeah, just to get a feel for that clear, energetic style.
And that links right back to the Chinese learning shortcut, focus on the sounds first, the daily patterns.
It's not just grammar rules in a vacuum. It's about the feel of the spoken language.
Mr. Beast's success, in a way, is just proof of how powerful that kind of delivery really is.
It really underscores that point. Good communication isn't just about complex words or perfect grammar. It's about connection, clarity, engagement, making it easy and interesting for the other person.
All right, so wrapping up this deep dive on Mr. Beast's communication, it's pretty clear his success isn't just the crazy ideas.
No, there's definitely a method there. A way he uses English that just works on a massive scale.
And the takeaway for you listening, I think, is that whether you're aiming for YouTube stardom or just, want your next presentation to land better.
Or just have a better chat with someone.
Yeah. Those basics, clarity, expressiveness, pacing, how you deliver it, they really, really matter.
Fundamentals.
So here's the final thought to chew on. What if you consciously tried to apply just one of these things? Like maybe focus on simplifying your sentences next time you explain something complex, or pay attention to the energy in your voice, or just use a deliberate pause.
Just pick one element.
Yeah, whether you're practicing a new language or just talking to colleagues tomorrow, how could adding a little bit of that, let's call it Mr. Beast clarity and energy, change how effectively you connect?
That's a great question to leave people with. Could make a surprising difference.